Greetings and welcome to another Blade and Soul video. This time I am going to talk about Poharan, her attack cycles, her abilities, and how to avoid them as a Kung Fu master. Now I know I'm skipping over all the other classes, however, hopefully with my help and this video, you'll be able to figure out how to tank her with every other class, including ranged such as Force Masters and Summoners. So let's get started. First, her normal attack cycle is as follows. First, she will point her hand into the air and consequently jump into the air, attack the person with the most aggro within 30 meters with a small area attack from above so it cannot be blocked, and everybody around them dazing them or stunning them. After that, she is going to land and attempt to knock the person with aggro up into the air. If she succeeds, she is going to do upwards of 25,000 damage to that person, and she cannot be interrupted during it as far as I can tell. The easiest way to avoid, as you can see, is to avoid her first attack, the one where she points into the air, with either a dodge, a backdash, or some sort of immunity. And then, as a Kung Fu master or as a Blade master, you can block her second attack, which will force her to back off where she landed after her jump attack. And then after that, she would do another attack that would daze you, almost long enough, by about half a second, before she starts the cycle again. So in order to tank her effectively, you have to avoid her first attack, block her second attack, move towards her or back off quite a bit to avoid her third attack, and then repeat. Hopefully this is helping you figure it out with your class. I know as a Kung Fu master, our block is extremely spammable, and that allows us to block pretty much every other attack. And we have four different ways to avoid her first attack. Either dash left, dash right, back dash, or using our flurry with a certain combination of skills. But anyway, yeah, that is her basic attack. After that, she is always going to jump into the center, and she is either going to say you're tough or I can't remember the other one. But every time she jumps right into the center, she is going to do one of two attacks, depending on one of three attacks, depending on her health percentage. Above 60%, she is going to do her fire ring attack. You've probably seen this in the 26-man version, and I really don't know why people stay in there and try to dodge them. There really is no reason to stay in there and risk taking a lot of damage and being knocked around. All you gotta do is back off like I do all the way to the edge of the arena, and there's about a 5-meter ring in the outer part where the fire doesn't reach. It's really so much easier just to back off as soon as she jumps into the center of the arena to avoid this attack. Now the second one is her ice attack. Now for this one, you actually have to activate the steam that comes out of the fans in order to avoid being frozen and taking a whole lot of damage. The levers are located on the east and western side of the arena, and they take about 2 seconds to activate. Now contrary to the Korean version, we don't actually have to time this precisely in order to get it to make us immune to her ice attack. Here, as long as you activate them, they will stay activated as throughout the entire ice phase, which is about 6 or 7 seconds-ish. The other good thing is that the steam will heal 1,000-ish health, or about 3% of your health every second, I think. However, if you are the tank, you need to be very careful. As you can see in this part, I still have aggro and I know this because my name is on top of her life bar, and I can also see the big red ring around me with the arrow saying you have aggro. Now the problem with tanking her from range with a Force Master or a Summoner is that she will launch incendiary grenades following that person's path, and she will leave a fire on the floor where they landed that deals about 2,000 damage every second. She can do this in one of two ways. She can either launch one right after the other following the person's path, or she can launch all of them in a volley. Now, the volley one is the most troublesome one because if a cat is tanking her and keeps her in the center, she will more than likely use this one and create a giant pool of fire around the cat, and then when the melee jump back in after the fire arrives, they are going to get absolutely destroyed by taking 8,000 damage a second, and this is usually what happens when you suddenly die as a melee and you don't know what happened. Now, the third one is the combination of fire and ice. So once she gets below 40%, she will start doing both in sequence. First, she will do the ice attack, where you need to activate the steam, and right after that, she is going to do the fire rings. So as you can see, you can't just jump in right away, and she's also going to summon her two cats. Now, in this example, the rest of the party decided to kill the cats. Good for them. I can tank this all day as long as I don't commit any mistakes. Unfortunately, I do eventually, but anyway. So as you can see, avoid the ice by turning on the steam. Because I have aggro, I run around the vent that I'm going to, well, stand in once the ice attack comes. After she launches the 4th grenade, I backdash into it, and then I am able to avoid the ice. And then I have to backdash again to make sure I'm at the very edge of the arena so I don't need the fire ring attack. And after that, after every ice phase, she is always going to do the you can't catch me attack. Now this is a small AoE around her that will launch her into the air and knock everyone back. After that, she is always going to shoot her minigun at the person closest. This includes a cat or any player. And after she shoots her minigun, she is going to dive bomb that same person with an attack that can, I believe, also knock out. And after that, she is always going to try and knock them into the air to do her knock-up minigun attack. So yeah, that is a pretty long sequence, and having a cat tanker can completely ruin this for someone else that has aggro, but the tank is using their defense core ability. Because if it runs out at the wrong time, the person can suddenly find themselves in the air and taking their entire life bar worth of damage. And really, that is all there is to the Poharan fight. All you gotta do is figure out what phase she's in, act accordingly, and if you're a Kung Fu master like me, cycle between your right, left, and back dashes to avoid her aerial daze ability before she knocks you up, and then make sure you're always facing towards her with your block ready so that you don't get knocked up into the air. Now, there is a little caveat to that little daze attack that she does while jumping up. If you do get hit and you are fast enough, you can use your F, your reactionary ability, to backflip as a Kung Fu master out of the daze. However, you only have about a half a second to react to it. So I don't really recommend relying on that. And not only that, but you're going to take around 6,000 damage every time you take the attack, whether you have aggro or not. So if you don't have aggro, stand to her sides or to her rear and try to figure out who has aggro and where she's looking, because you don't want to get hit with that either. And really, that is all there is to the Poharan fight. The most complex part of the fight is dealing with the tigers. Luckily here we had 2 force masters, so while they killed one, they slept the other. Just remember that every single steam phase or every single fire phase, the cats are going to wake up and run to the edges. So they can only BCC it for as long as there is time between the either fire or ice phase, and then they're going to automatically wake up and break free out of any form of CC they're in, and then they're going to go back on the aggro that they used to have. So yeah, that is the simplified version of how to deal with Poharan and how to tank her actually. Hopefully this is useful as a sword master, as a destroyer. I'm not really sure on destroyers though. I think they only have 1 block ability. But anyway, hopefully you find it useful. And I will see you probably on Wednesday or Thursday when Bloodshade Harbor actually releases. Later.